Cold air breathed through a lonely and empty tunnel. Water slowly dripped from the sharp stalagmites above on the tall ceiling. As the wind flowed through, a drop of water was flicked off the end of the pointy rocks and splashed upon the nose of a ragged feline corpse. The cat slowly blinked open his caramel brown eyes. Dark blood oozed from several wounds along his neck, head, and shoulders. As if brought back from the dead, the skinny Tom staggered to find his footing. His thoughts drifted with confusion. He opened his jaws to speak. "Hello." His voice was hoarse due to lack of use. Silence greeted his call. No answer had come from him. He tried to call out some of his friends' names, but even then he got nothing. His mind whirled with questions. Where am I? How did I get here? Where is everyone? Why don't I remember? He groaned in agony as he lifted his head. A deep gash ran from the top of his head to under his right eye, and one of his ears was split in half. One of his questions was answered, as his eyes followed a blood trail coming from a pile of large boulders that seemed to have fallen from a hole in the ceiling. Limping over to the fallen boulders, he peered upwards at the only source of light, shining downward on him. If only the rocks were closer, he mumbled to himself. Then I would have a possible chance of getting out. His black paw wiped the smear of blood from his forehead, wincing at the surprisingly sharp pain. He noticed the fur of another cat was stuck between his claws, but the scent was too faint and indistinguishable to make out whose it was. Blood, he murmured questioningly. So if I'm covered in blood, then that means a fight must have happened, he inquired. And if I'm stuck down here without anyone... He gave a long pause, feeling more lonely than ever. Then they don't know I'm stuck down here. At this point, he didn't care what he said out loud. Nobody was around to hear it except himself. Well, me and maybe StarClan. His thoughts reminded him. He decided it was best to just lie and wait until he could finally piece the remains of the memories together, in hopes he'll understand what was happening. Somebody please help.